So today we did a play off of the mordita. The common mordita that we're all very familiar with is the back ocho, where you go back ocho, here, here, and there, right? So in this case, we're doing something pretty much the same, except we're gonna do this in a linear fashion. And the linear fashion gives us a completely different texture. So when we're going here into the back ocho, the same, I say back ocho, but what I mean is cross system. When we go into cross system, it achieves almost the same result, but just with a different kind of texture. So I go side here, and I'm going to do this in a linear fashion. I'm just doing the extension to show you that this is a forward, straight ahead, square step. Then when I bring the mordita in, and I can draw like that. So the key here, or rather the appeal here, is that I can do a lot more dynamic, fun stuff in this because it's a little bit faster. The other one, there's like a lot of winding, and with the winding, I have to turn, I have to do a lot of body maneuvering. But with this one, it's linear, so it's kind of like just here, and if I want to, pow, pow, pow. You see that? Like I can really play with the dynamic and strength of this step. So in order to achieve this, it's just maintain a short distance here. Don't, even in a close and open embrace, we don't want too much space between us, because once I go, you'll notice after I step and I make this contact, I'm not taking a long step. It's pretty minimal. And then I just do the little mordita, the little bite, and then I draw and I just step behind myself. Why am I stepping behind myself? Over here, I'm creating a path for my follower to step into. Once she steps through, I can do a forward ocho afterwards. Pretty typical stuff at the end of here. That's that. So then we play with the alteration thereof. So an alteration is, we think about the shape of the body. So if I'm in this shape and I pivot, then I'm still in the same shape, but I have altered my direction. I altered my position. So that's called an alteration. So what I'm going to do for the follower is do exactly that. So I step, same thing, except now I'm going to step over here, change my weight, alter the follower's position. So now she has rotated. You can vary the rotation. It doesn't have to be 180 degrees. It could be small, it could be big. Same little mordita. She steps over, same exit or similar exit. So the key here on this step is we have this idea of a pivot, like a noun, not a verb to pivot. So the idea is when I am doing this step, and I step side, here, boom, boom. The question is, from where do I want my follower to rotate? I want her to rotate on this point here. So that becomes my pivot. So in order to leverage said pivot, I need to alter my body with the step, and now I can send my follower around that pivot. Step, and here. If I don't move myself, then I have no leverage. So that's where the lever idea comes in. I need something to pull my follower around. So from here, if I try to just go here, it's gonna be really tiny. If I step way around, oops, sorry, I can go into a big one, sorry. A little too excited. And the last little bit that we did, which I also liked, is with everything that we're doing up to this point, it's all going into a forward ocho, right? It's like a change of direction. After this bite, she goes into a forward step, which will then translate into a forward step out, which will be more forward steps to the follower. But say that I want to be tricky or, fancy. I can do the same setup here. Oops, sorry. Let me do that again. I'm thinking too many steps ahead. I can alter this into now a back ocho. So the key here, the key difference between what we were doing before and what we're doing now is the entire time that I was working that pivot, I always had my right foot next to her foot. So in this case, what I'm gonna do is I'm actually going to reposition this foot in one way or another. What do I mean by that? I'm either going to collect and then move my foot appropriately, or I'm just gonna move my foot to where I want it to go. Either way works. But the idea is by adjusting the position of the foot, it's going to allow me to treat this like a normal back ocho. So one more time, if I'm here, she goes here, this collection, this is a very familiar place. This is just the beginnings of a back ocho, right? So I'm using that. One last little detail to make this actually work, because trying to do this without this detail, you'll notice that your spacing, your distance, your arm, something's gonna go wrong. The idea here is that now I need to really leverage my own frame in this position. So when I'm doing this position, I'm gonna do something that I would generally call a bad technique, but in this case, it's a good technique, it's necessary. When I am rotating the follower, you're gonna notice that my elbow is going to tuck into my body, here to here, creating kind of this shape, a perpendicular position between myself and my follower. I would normally tell people don't do this. This is bad technique for a lot of reasons. But this is very temporary and it's almost an illusion. Why? Because once I rotate my follower out, my arm will be right where it needs to be. You see, the hand doesn't move, the elbow does. So this is going to allow me a greater rotation for my follower, and then the elbow coming out will be rotating the follower out of it, so pivoting the follower out of it, and getting my elbow back into position. Here, last little thing. Very detailed, I'm sorry. Here, watch my elbow. See that? The elbow tucks into the body. We're in a perpendicular position. Now, after I adjust, here, watch what my elbow does. It's just going to open, which will facilitate the follower's rotation. It's right back where it needs to be. So just very briefly, it's a necessary evil in this case, and really it's not evil. It's actually a good, founded technique that will help you get through this step.
Cool.
I think that's it. Thank you.